I guess I'm on. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
A huge welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. This beautiful Sunday morning. What a joy to be together. And I invite you to stand. We're going to start with a couple of songs, if that's comfortable for you. Yeah, let's sing. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. My heart is open to the full expression of that life living me. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. My heart is open to the full expression of that life living me. God is all there is, and I am one with God is. I am, and so it is. Hello, it's great to see you. Hey friend, you're not alone. Come in, our hearts are open. Welcome home. Come on, the Spirit's moving. Our love is here to grow. Wake up, our coffee's brewing. Welcome home. This is my place. This is your place. This is our place. Welcome home. Hello. This is my place. It's great to see you. Hey friend, you're not alone. Come in. Our hearts are open. Welcome home. Come on. This is my place. Spirit's moving. Our love is here to grow. Wake up. This is our coffee's brewing. Welcome home. Put your feet up. Welcome home. Come on and stay a while. Home.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I like that response. And welcome to CSL. I'm Doug Benson, and it's a joy to be here with you today. Here at the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, we're more than a Sunday service. We're a growing, heart-centered community grounded in spiritual principles and open-hearted love. Our vision is a world and loving partnership for the good of all, and that begins right here with how we show up for one another. If you're here for the first time, welcome. We're so glad you found us. Be sure to stop by our welcome table in the social hall after service and pick up a little gift from us. Inside, you'll find more about who we are, a bookstore gift certificate, and the way to stay connected through our newsletter. And to those of you joining online, welcome to you as well. It's an honor to share this space with you. There's so much goodness unfolding here, so be sure to check out our newsletter or talk to one of us after the service. We'd love to get to know you a little bit more. Today after service, or Wednesday, July 30th at 12:45 p.m., you are invited to join us in our community listening sessions. As we dream into what's next for our community, more joyful events, meaningful sacred service, and ways to connect, we'd love to hear from you. Your voice matters. Whether you've been here forever, I don't know if anybody, well, maybe we all have in one respect, or just finding your way in. That may be for newcomers or anybody who's just visiting for the first time. We want to know what lights you up, or as I would say, what gets you out of bed in the morning, and how you'd love to be a part of the magic we're creating here together. Here at the center, we believe in the power of prayer, what we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. If there's something on your heart, we invite you to fill out a prayer request card. You'll find them in the seat back pockets. You can drop your card in the prayer box at the back of the sanctuary, place it in the offering plate, or submit a request anytime at csl-lascruces.org. Your request will be lovingly held by our prayer team, a group of ministers and licensed practitioners from all 4 local New Thought communities. If you'd like a one-on-one prayer today, look for a practitioner wearing a turquoise stole. Thank you. They'll be available after the service to pray with you. And we love good news. The fruit of the Spirit is good news. Anything that's going on in your life that is that fruit, we'd love to hear from you about that. Feel free to fill out a gratitude card and share what's going well in your life. We'd love to celebrate it with you. Now it's time for songs, silence, and prayer.
Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. I will be, I will be, I will be.
Today, I recognize that I exist in the oneness of God as love, light, and presence, as the truth of who I am. And I therefore rejoice in God's divine presence. It is here that Ernest Holmes says, I bathe in the sunlight of eternal truth, bursting through the clouds of obscurity, bathing all life in glory. Joy wells up within my mind, and life sings a song of ecstasy in my heart. And so it is. Today's reading is from Science of Mind, text, page 109 by Ernest Holmes. Thank you, Bonnie, for selecting this. This is one of my favorite parts in all of the Science of Mind books, so thank you for sharing that today. The only way God can evolve a spontaneous individual is to let him alone and allow him to awaken to himself. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. So we must be created with the possibility of limitless freedom and let alone to discover ourselves. On the road to self-discovery, we must be subject to the law of reality, and if in ignorance we violate this law, we must thereby suffer. This is not, however, because any divine decree ordains suffering, but simply because it is the necessity of the case. God never intended us to suffer. Suffering may be salutary in that it leads us to a place where we learn that it is unnecessary. We shall cease to suffer as we more and more comply with the laws of the universe. All suffering is a result of some infringement of these laws. It is a solace to the mind when we come to understand that all human limitation, from the standpoint of the divinity within us, is unnecessary. We recognize that we experience pain, but how could there be an eternal reality to pain? If this were true, we would have suffering universe, a suffering God, an agonizing deity, all of which seem untrue, unreal, and impossible. We must know definitely and consistently that the universe is for us and not against us. And so it is. And now we have special music by Chris Sanders. Let's give her a warm welcome. This is her first time here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here, Vet. It's wonderful to have meditation. Oh, that was really wonderful. And one of the places that I find peace and solace is at the beach, next to the ocean, with all those negative ions coming around. And so it's interesting, the reading that you just did, Doug, coming to realize who I am at the age of 70, well, I'm 72 now, but I wrote this song when I was 70. And if you remember when Janice Ian sang that song, at 17 I learned the truth, blah, blah, blah. What a great song. There's a really cool documentary on right now on the TV about her. Brave soul, talented woman. Anyway, this is kind of how I bounced off that kind of riff about being 17 and looking at what is the truth at 70. Again, bouncing off what you were saying and finding those eternal truths by looking at nature. So here we go. Clouds amass in silent cover, loons cry, seagulls hover far and few. Winsome waves on tiptoe cover footprints, one after the other fade from view. Turn my collar to the coldest jacket's worn and torn and old, too big for me. I'm smaller than I once was. Dolphins putting on a show. How do they know they are free to play? No one tells them to perform. They dive down deep beneath the storm. It's nature's way. Undomesticated joy is theirs and mine, and boy, oh boy, I can have my day. I'm wilder than I once was at 17. 17, now I'm 70. 70 years turning with the tide. 70 years tossed, tumbled, and tried. Lost and tossed and found a perfect seashell. Once you find that perfect seashell, bid the others fare thee well, their time has passed. Once you know that like the tide, nature's will not be denied, nothing lasts. Once again a ruby sky, lazy pelicans circled by, nothing hard and fast. I'm smaller than I once was, wilder than I once was, happier than I once was at 17. 17, now I'm 72. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I think a lot of people could relate to that one. Thank you so much. It's good to have you here. Again, it's been a while. Yay. Okay. Can we open that door, just one of them, so we can see what's going on in case someone decides to join us on the other side, as they say? Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center, and it is so good to see everyone. Hello to people online. I've been gone for a while. Thank you. I love the Welcome Home song. That was perfect. And then the one going into Song, Silence, and Prayer also was just perfect for today. I left on June 8th, and I got back on the 18th, and I came over here to see you all for the service last week, and then I took another 5 days of a staycation at home. It was wonderful. It's been wonderful. I traveled by car virtually alone. I had my little 4.6-pound Chihuahua that many of you know as Bella along with me, and she did great. I started by going up to Santa Fe. Some of you might remember practitioner Cheryl Clark. I got to stay a night with her. I saw her on the way out and on the way back. And all is well up there. That was good. I went from there to the south side of Denver and visited with my cousins, then across to Nebraska and visited the young man that used to rent from me.
on out to Iowa and spent quite a bit of time there, and then on to Ohio, which is where I lived for 10 years. Woohoo, yeah. Out to Ohio, made that a little bit of a home base for a while, and I took an overnight and went through Columbus. So many of you might remember Margie Coffey. She used to attend here. I got to have lunch with her. That was wonderful. She looks great. We had a nice visit, a walk in the hot, muggy park. It was 93% humidity in Ohio, people. I was happy to come back to New Mexico. Anyway, from there I went a little southeast to the Athens County area and visited with a friend who had a son at the same time I had mine. There were 4 of us that had sons. And, well, one was a daughter, 3 sons. And so I got to see him all grown up, and that was really fun. Went back to Yellow Springs, spent a few more days, then headed home pretty much the same route with a little detour through southern Indiana, and met with a coach friend of mine from way back when I was in college. So it was a great trip, and I'm wrapping it up by wrapping this month up with the topic of rolling in the deep. Well, you have to forgive me, but I have been gone a while, so this might be a little irreverent. But when I think about rolling in the deep, what do we say when people are just going on, it's getting a little deep in here? I'm not sure that's kind of rolling in the deep they're talking about, but that's what I thought about when I heard this topic. And so I had to think a little deeper and go on. And so there are, ways that I think a similar phrase or a word can mean the same thing or different things in different contexts, even if it's the same word. And all those miles on the road, because I was driving, I had a lot of time to think, to contemplate, to ask myself some very deep questions, and to realize some ahas along the way. I also listened to several audiobooks, and I had a stint with Farm and Ranch Radio because my audiobook wouldn't come through. And I had other periods of time in just the silence. So before I share with you from the road what I experienced and thought about, I want to let you know a little bit about what happens before I head out on an adventure like this. Every time I travel, I kind of go through this because I'm a homebody. I love my home. I love my garden, as many of you know. And the idea of turning that over for 7 weeks to somebody else's care is not easy. I had to sort of bless my plants and hope they all survived because I knew it was going to get hot here. And then I think about traveling into the Midwest. I don't want to run into tornadoes. I don't want to run into bad weather, so I'm contemplating that. And then I'm thinking about traveling alone. My Chihuahua is not going to scare off too many people. And so I thought about how I was going to go through states that are not known for supporting people like me in the world. And so I spent a little time letting that fear bubble up before I left. And then, of course, I address it in my mind. And I loved what Yvette said last week when she said, imagine yourself on the stage and God comes up to ask you to dance. And what do? I'm too scared. Is that your response to life when it says, come dance with me? So I love that analogy because my mantra this year has been just keep on dancing. That's been my theme for the year. And so I could picture that, come on, let's dance with life. And me going, I'm too scared. Well, I talked myself down from that and decided to go for it. And I took an amazing journey and dance with God over the last 7 weeks. Once I made the decision to do that, everything fell into place. The people I was going to see, the times they were available, who was going to be present, and it was a fabulous trip. So like our reading said this morning, we must know definitely and consistently that the universe is for us and not against us. And it's that thought that gets me out the door, gets me up in the morning, and got me on the road. And it was that thought that also came in handy after I left Cheryl's when I thought I had a 5.5-hour drive and my GPS decided I needed an extra 2-hour detour. So I got close to Raton and the phone, my GPS kept trying to get me to take a detour. So I finally pulled over at a gas station to look at what was going on, and it looked like I-25 might be closed up ahead. So I was like, okay. I called my cousin and said, looks like I'm going to have to take a little detour here. I kept thinking, this doesn't seem right. Like there should be some closer local way to do this. But I listened to the GPS, and I'm heading down the road, and it was a while before I went, first of all, the audio is no longer working because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm the only car taking this detour. Nobody else is going this way or coming the other way. I'm by myself out in the middle of who knows where, somewhere in Colorado. And I was like, okay, I could either get really mad, really frustrated. I was too far into it to turn around. It would take twice as long to go back. So just keep going. And I kept saying to myself, just enjoy the view. Look at the hills, look at the grasslands, and there were I love pronghorn antelope. There they were, out in the meadows. So just enjoy the ride. And I also realized I was very grateful I had gassed up when I stopped. I had gone to the bathroom. And I had followed divine inspiration before I left. And when the young man told me I would probably need new tires at the end of the summer, I decided to go ahead and get them before I left. So I had brand new tires to be driving out in the middle of who knows where. So I kept my focus there. Again, in the reading, it says, God never intended us to suffer. And to me, part of suffering is when I'm beating up on myself. And so in the silence, I was aware that I could either beat up on myself for going ahead and doing this, even though part of me was like, this doesn't make sense. I could get angry, I could grouse, or I could just enjoy the view. I was at choice, and I chose to enjoy what I was seeing for an extra 2 hours that got me into Denver just at the edge of rush hour, which I had been trying to avoid. But I made it to my cousin's, and I got to spend a few days with her and her husband. And part of what evolved in perfection for me at this event was that my other cousin, who's been going between South Africa and Ohio, was flying or coming in. I think they drove in or flew in with her daughter. And I had a fourth cousin. So these are my uncle's kids. My uncle was a Christian Science practitioner. And after the third child was born, they moved out closer to Principia, which is a Christian Science university or college. And they lived in St. Louis, so we didn't see them. I didn't see them growing up. I've connected with my cousins as an adult. And so the fourth cousin, we never saw until she was an adult. So we were all here together, and she had gone out on a vacation herself and was flying in the last night I was there. So we were waiting at another cousin's house for her to show up so we could have a grilled out, wonderful dinner. And she got there a little late. The airports keep having kind of interesting fluctuations in their times. But we all got together, the four of us and me, for the first time in our entire lives, all in the same place. So that was amazing. It was thrilling. It was fun, good food, lots of feeling of closeness and bonding, even though one of my cousins has very different political views and a very different view of the world than the rest of us. And we still found that time together. First of all, my cousin I was staying with informed me, we just don't discuss politics, okay? Just keep that off the plate. So we did. We told stories about our childhood. We connected with each other. It was wonderful. And it wasn't until I was halfway to Nebraska when I realized I didn't take a picture. Me, who's taking pictures of everything, forgot to get a picture. By the time she got there, I was already like on the end of being awake. So it was very frustrating to me. And again, I found myself at that place of choice. I could beat myself up. I could kick myself because by this point, my other cousin had already headed back to Ohio as well. We wouldn't be all together. Or I could just allow myself to revel in the experience itself. I thought about it. I thought about what we did, what we said, really tried to get those memories in my brain, in my own imagination or remembering, however you want to word that, so that I could just stay in that feeling of goodness that came from all of us being together. So as I've been doing throughout the weeks that I was gone, I watched Reverend Jenny Sovereign's her talk. I watched it on YouTube. And I thought it was fascinating that she called it Giving God a Good Time, since that is what I've always said is my purpose in life, is to give God a good time. And when I saw that and thought about it, one of the things she said is involved with giving God a good time was a little different take on that for me. She said that part of giving God a good time is to feel everything we are here to feel as us. To feel everything we're here to feel as us. And that was different for me. And then part of what I was also doing when I got home was catching up on the Science of Mind magazine for this month. What was it all about? What are they talking about? What is the purpose of this topic? And Reverend Dr. Sunny Cantrell Smith, who's our spiritual leader for the Centers for Spiritual Living, wrapped up what she wrote in here by saying, "The unknown can be unsettling, but in the dark, the deep, the uncertain places, there is growth." Holmes reminds us that the universal mind responds to our thoughts and intentions, but our work isn't only to think clearly, it's also to feel deeply. Trust and align with greater wisdom. To divine the deep is to surrender to Spirit's call, stepping into the sacred mystery, only to discover that the waters we seek have been quietly flowing within us all along. And so there she mentioned it also, that part of what we're here to do is not just all the thinking that we do, but to feel deeply. And so this idea of feeling and allowing those feelings to come in was really present for me. And I thought about, again, I felt the disappointment of not having that picture, but I also chose to focus on and really feel the beauty of all of us getting together, of having had that time with my family. And then I also moved into gratitude. I moved into gratitude for this teaching because part of what I've learned here is how to what I call expand my heart. So I picture a heart and then I just see it growing bigger and bigger. As I expand my heart, it allows in different views, different ways of being, and it not only includes others, but it allows me to bond and connect with and actually love people different than myself. Now, how did I know that my cousin thinks differently than me? We're both on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook, so I see everything she posts, she sees everything I post, and we've often messaged, we just have to agree to disagree. So we knew we had differences, but I think we also we just felt a connection. We felt that bond, we felt that love between us, and I give great thanks that that was present. And so as I left Denver and I'm heading toward Nebraska on this road, I'm listening to my audiobooks. There's a good swath of space in Nebraska where they didn't come through. But I had decided when I started this trip that since I've studied Ernest Holmes for the last however many years, I've been reading Holmes and other New Thought teachers, all the things we've read for classes, I wanted something different. I wanted something fun. I wanted something more entertaining. I wanted to just listen and not have to really, I'm always taking notes and underlining. So I wasn't sure what I was going to listen to because I got the guy at the library to put it into my phone and I figured out how to listen to it through the speakers. So I went through this program called Hoopla, but it's not like going to the library where you see all these books and you can kind of go, I'm drawn to this one. It's like 2 or 3 at a time that I'm scrolling. So what I did was just pick the first thing that looked interesting. And then when I was done with that, I scrolled again and the first thing that looked interesting. So it wasn't, how do I put it? It wasn't me being conscious of what I was choosing. It was just whatever came up that looked fun, I listened to. So I'm going to share with you my list of what I was listening to on the road. And this is the order I listened to them in. And again, remember, I just sort of picked whatever showed up. So the first one was called The Banned Bookshop of Maggie Banks. And it was by Shauna Robbins, and that was just pure fun. It was a little novel, and it was a lot of fun. Then I got to Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I love Barbara Kingsolver. So that was fun. It was a book of hers I hadn't read. Then The Metaphysical Club came up by Louis Menard. Is that one that we've looked at? It was interesting because it gave me a lot of context for religious science. It was about a club, a group of people in Boston who were meeting and discussing metaphysical things. So I recognized a lot of Emerson was one of them, a lot of the people that we study, but it was written sort of from this perspective of being a part of this club. So that was fun. And then I was recommended to listen to by a friend, Failures of the Presidents, from the Whiskey Rebellion and the War of 1812 to the Bay of Pigs and the War in Iraq by Thomas Crogwell. That was interesting, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But that was a different take on history because we get presented something in school, and this looked at it from another perspective and actually filled in a lot of blanks for me. And the last one, I'm 75% through it, that I'm listening to now is called Salt Houses by Hala Al-Yan, and it is a historical fiction novel about a Palestinian family over the generations and what they experience with occupation, with having to come, move to different places to avoid war, and some of them even came to the United States. So it's interesting because, again, it's historical fiction, so you get a sense of what was happening, but it's through a fictionalized family. And then while I wasn't driving, I was reading books. So I read Becoming by Michelle Obama, and I read The Women, another historical fiction novel about the women who served in Vietnam. And one of the things that was interesting about that, and some of you might have just thought, well, there weren't women that served in Vietnam, because she said that over and over throughout the book. These women served, they were enlisted, they served as nurses. So they weren't on the front line, so to speak, but boy, did they see stuff. So if you don't want to know the gruesome details, don't read the book. But for me, I pushed through the gruesome details because I was learning a whole different perspective on what happened during that period of time. So why am I sharing all this with you? Because when we talk about rolling in the deep, when I listen to books or when I read books, I roll in them. I feel what the characters are feeling. It's like I've been there. It's like I'm having this experience. I kept saying as I was reading it to my friend, I'm going to Vietnam now, and I'd go read my book. It was just, you felt that presence. And I had an experience through the books. And I experienced different perspectives, different ways of thinking, and I deepened in my understanding of various topics. Like I said, with the president's failures, I saw history through a different light. It helped me understand the Bay of Pigs. I remember as a kid, so it helped me see it in a different light. It helped me to contemplate what had gone on in this country, and it helped me to change, and not just change my thinking, but augment my thinking. It expanded my thinking in a lot of areas, in addition to expanding my heart. So when we move off the cushion, as Yvette challenged us to do last week, and get beyond the cushion and take things out into the world, part of what I take with me is what I've learned and experienced through the books that I read or listen to. And these give me different perspectives, different ways of interacting with people. So from the President's Failures book, I was able to go, okay, this country has been through a lot. There have been a lot of decisions that maybe haven't always been in the best interest, and a lot that were. And it depended on whose part of the history you're listening to as well. And so it gave me a little sense of hope. From the women in Vietnam, I learned a whole different take on that experience. I grew up in Southern California. No one in my family, immediate family, served in any military. I was from the peace, love side of things. And when I read the impact that had on these people coming back who had served, it broke my heart. And it broke it open. And I saw I saw the women who served and the men who served in a whole different light. And I think that our country learned from that experience. We learned the hard way. We learned that we don't take it out on the people serving, whether we agree with the war or not. And I'm grateful that we learned, and I'm sorry to all the people who went through that experience and felt dismissed after they served. So again, what was interesting to me as I'm reading and catching up in here was how Jesse Jennings, and you all know that Reverend Jesse Jennings is one of my favorite writers, how he addresses several of the things that came up for me and several of the things that I was contemplating as I took this vacation. So the first thing was that I started to feel a sense of hope for this country. If we can get through all of this other stuff, and I listened to a lot of different things, I feel like we can get through whatever's in front of us today. The question that was asked of Reverend Jesse Jennings is, what is the truth about hoping for the best? Is hope really just a subtle illusion and pointless, as the Science of Mind textbook indicates? Remember, he talks about the difference between hope and faith in the Science of Mind text. Jesse has a really good answer here about the third paragraph. This is what he said. Certainly, the longer-term goal is to put hope into restorative action, to not just expect relief, but actually get it. Hope is not a substitute for action, but a mindset that's making room to accommodate the new experience that will follow the action. Joyous expectancy, which the Science of Mind teaches, is hardly the opposite of hope. It is hope being celebrated and keenly directed. Hope is also an excellent goal-setting mechanism. When we ask ourselves, what would we put in place instead of this? It's to our hopes that we are appealing. A hoped-for reality arises, surrounded by feeling, more compelling than any other outcome we may have pointed toward. This is the time for robust choice. Go, Reverend Jesse. So, I felt hope. I felt hope come back into my sphere of being as I listened and contemplated and went through all this. And like I said, I found myself really honoring and respecting in a different way the people who serve this country. And I know there's some here. Thank you to those of you who have. My dear friends. And one of those dear friends was Reverend Donna Smith, who I spent my last part of my vacation with, and she's the one that gave me the book to read. So it was really interesting and a good thing to have. So that leads me to the second thing that Reverend Jesse talked about in his part of the Science of Mind text this month. As I mentioned, one of my cousins was very different from me, had different views on the world, not just politics, on the whole world. And I drove through parts of the country that had huge billboards, not just little yard signs, huge billboards that espoused things that I wasn't always in agreement with. Beliefs about who Jesus was in their lives is different than how I see that person in my life. Billboards about women and their bodies and political leanings, huge billboards. And again, I questioned how safe it was for me to be traveling alone in these places. And yet I want to share some experiences with you that I had. So first of all, I was on these back roads. I wasn't on the main interstate. So you've probably been on these roads where you're going 60 miles an hour, then you have to go down to 35, you go through 2 blocks, and you're out the other end, and you're back up to 60. So you've just passed through a little town. And I'm not exaggerating, every little town I passed through had a Mexican restaurant. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I was thinking, why are we hearing about moving all these Mexican people out of our country when every little town wants to eat Mexican food? And why, when we want to eat the food that the people from Mexico are taking out of our fields for us? I could go on, I won't, because it will get too political, but I'll let you think about that. It just was something I chewed on after I saw like the 10th Mexican restaurant as I drove through these little towns. Another experience that I had, I would look for pilot gas stations because they tend to have dog parks. And I could let Bella out to run around and not have to be on a leash in the dog park. And I went into one, and this man came in, and he went, and I said, so he said, I'm deaf, and I said, I'm an interpreter. Well, we chatted for like 20 minutes to a half hour. It was so fun, a complete stranger. And I thought about and contemplated after I left there, he probably never got to chat with someone at the dog park before, a complete stranger. And I thought about how having a second language allowed me to have that experience with him that I wouldn't have been able to have did I not know his language. And so I thought about the value of knowing more than one language. Another experience. I got into another small town, a little gas station, time to take a potty break. And I had created some shirts, I had bought some and then I made more that had little pockets so I could stick Bella in my pocket when I go in, so I didn't leave her in the car. And when I came out, I was getting some breakfast and coffee. The woman behind the counter was, "Oh, she's so cute. Does she like chicken fingers?" Yeah, Bella said yes. Well, let me tell you what went through my head. I was like, oh, I don't like to give her greasy food. And then I went, this woman wants to give. Let her give. Let her have the experience of giving. So then what I said was, if we take the breading off. Well, she didn't just hand me a chicken finger. Another man who worked there was like, take that one, pick that one right there. So she picked that one, she unbreaded it, crumbled it up in a little to-go cup, and handed it to me for Bella for free. Yeah. So, as I drove away from there, looking at the wide expanse of apparently Kansas, I didn't realize I was in Kansas till the sign said, "You are now leaving Kansas." So somehow I dropped out of Nebraska into Kansas. I was contemplating as I saw the wide fields of wheat and corn, what I had just experienced. This woman and the gentleman that worked there were so warm and welcoming. They were very friendly. They offered me something. Now, I do realize that I was an older, gray-haired woman traveling alone with a chihuahua, and I'm white. I did recognize that. So I think that afforded me some privilege that some people, had they been traveling through there, might not have had. And some of that privilege was probably based on her assumptions about me that might not have been true. But what I felt and what I really contemplated was the fact that within her was friendliness, welcoming, givingness, and I realized that is her true nature. And what I contemplated was this idea that Holmes talks about, when we have love in our hearts for all, that love will be returned. And I did feel that any friendliness or smiles that I gave out were definitely received. But on a deeper level, what I also felt, and I felt this, was that if that is the core of this individual, it can expand. That love, that warmth, that welcoming, and that friendliness is at the core of everyone I met, even in parts of the world where I wasn't sure I would be welcomed. And I realized that if it's there, it can grow. I could see it, and I started imagining it expanding beyond just the cooks in the Mexican restaurants to all the people from different parts of the world. I saw it expanding beyond their families, their friends, and those who attended their same churches, places of worship, to include people from all different parts of the world and all different ways of being. I saw the potential, I felt the potential for that expanded heart to take place around this country and in the world. And again, I felt hope. I felt a sense of hope. So that was a long way around to get to the second message of Reverend Jesse Jennings that he had in here. The question that was asked to him is, why isn't Centers for Spiritual Living more effective at organizing and mobilizing political action? I see sporadic efforts, but not results. I encourage you all to read the entire article. I'm not going to take your time because this is going longer. My journey was long. But I want to read you what he said at the very beginning. The divisions in the U.S. society unsurprisingly reveal themselves within our faith system, despite how special and enlightened we may pride ourselves in being. While the people in centers and focus ministries may share core emotional and psycho-spiritual values, they seldom align behind uniform political ideologies. Among our CSL community, we have Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Greens, some who don't vote along party lines, and quite a few who don't vote at all. He goes on to explain some of the different perspectives that come out of our teaching from the different political alignments as well. And sadly, as I was putting this together, working on it on Friday, I became aware of the shooting that took place at UNM. I served there, I taught, I worked there for 10 years. That just broke my heart. Every one of the shootings breaks my heart, but that just really hit home. And again, as I'm reading through responses to that, I see so clearly that people want to feel safe. How we go about feeling safe has two very different perspectives. One that says we should all carry guns and then we'd be safe, and one that says none of us should have guns and then we'd be safe. That's exaggerated, but there's two camps. And what Jesse says at the conclusion of this, so guns wasn't the example in here, he used another example, but that's what came to me Friday. He said, maybe what serves us best is to focus on our own personal commitment to societal change and thereby draw to ourselves others who feel likewise, to then create collective action rather than bullying the unpersuaded and hesitant. This is not only contrary to everything we stand for, it changes nothing. So again, he goes back to his way of saying we stand for something and against nothing. So instead of trying to bully other people into our perspective, my thought is if there's two, there might be a third, a fourth, a bigger, expanded way that we can all get to the same goal of feeling safe, of being in a country that we can feel proud of, whatever the situation is. And that is part of the hope that came back to me as I traveled and met people who I perceived to be very different than myself on these travels. What does create change? He said that, bullying each other doesn't. What does create change? I think loving each other, opening our hearts to each other, creates the change that we want to see in the world. So this last audiobook that I'm listening to, The Palestinian Family, the grandmother teaches her grandchildren, Allah is in the seed. Allah is in the dirt. Allah is in my hands that do the planting, and is in the sun and the storm. The grandmother is basically teaching her children that Allah is in everything, everywhere. We might not understand why there's the storm or the war or whatever, but we know, she knows, Allah is in everything. Does that sound familiar? Again, I realize there are lots of people around the world who believe similar to us, just using different words. Maybe a different way of getting there. But we see God in everything. She sees Allah in everything. So, I can't stay mired in the deep of despair after this experience. Because when I put all these experiences together, I want to say yes to the dance. I want to dance with joy and with hope. As Reverend Jesse pointed out, within our centers, there are all different kinds of affiliations and beliefs. And at the same time, we're here together, we celebrate together, we come together, we support each other, and we love each other. And that, to me, is key. It's the both and, again, that I've talked about so many times. God is expressing through all of these belief systems. God is in it all. And so our challenge and my invitation to all of us is to continue expanding our hearts and our minds, expanding in our awareness of the truth that's within everyone, that seed that's deep within everyone. And go deep within yourself so you know where you are, how you're in alignment with Spirit, so you can listen and stay open to and learn from people who appear different than you. I preach this all the time. You all are probably tired of hearing it. But what an amazing experience to put all that into action for me. As Yvette said last week, true wisdom flows into life, not away from it. And so as we learn, it can't hurt us. It just adds to the life that's flowing in and through us. So I encourage you to go deep and think about the words from Jesse Jennings and other people within our movement. What is the world that you want to see? And then stand for that. But even more so, as you hold that vision, I encourage you to move your feet and maybe even take a journey. Whether that journey is on the road or through books, take that journey and bring your awareness to a greater level. Allow your heart to expand and allow your mind to expand and enjoy the journey. I know I did, and I continue to do so. Thank you, and so it is. And I'm grateful to the practitioners that are already surrounding this room. I'm going to start our prayer time with some words of Ernest Holmes from the back on Meditations for Self-Help on page 527. The way is made clear before me. I do not falter nor fall. The way of the Spirit is my way, and I am compelled to walk in it. My feet are kept on the path of perfect life. The way is prepared before me, and the way is a path of peace, of fulfillment, and joy. The way is bright with the light of love and kindness. The way I tread is a pleasant and a happy one. I see the way, and I walk in it. And so just allow your heart and mind to expand this morning. What is a journey you would like to take? Where are places that your heart is calling you to go? Again, whether it's in the form of books or movies or actually on the road. Knowing that you take your heart, you take God in and through you through that entire experience. And so I give thanks for the opportunity that I've had for this beautiful community and all those who kept it moving and growing here while I was on the road. I am grateful to everyone who comes here and shares their love, their thoughts, their ideas, and I'm grateful to all the open hearts that allow the diversity within our community. I see that expanding, I see it growing, because I know there is a seed of love, friendship, and welcoming within all of God's expressions. So I just release this awareness, this time, and allow for the journey to begin. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, practitioners. And it's time for music again. Honestly, well, first of all, I have to say, again, thank you for taking us on your journey. Secondly, thank you for the hospitality that this place lives. You live hospitality here. I love that. I love being in Las Cruces. I love the good that we do. I am prone to despair. It's easy to be there. And I'm from Minnesota. You know, for the love of God, it's so dark there so long. So it's easy to be, and it's full of Scandinavians who are also full of despair. Anyway, I'll do this tiny commercial before I sing a song about hope. Yeah, and about change, and about sometimes how change is painful, and I like to call it love's labor pain. You know, also, while I'm thinking of it, it references the desert, and you referenced, you know, in terms of struggle in the world right now, what if we do envision streams of love flowing through the desert that we're aware of here, but also across the sea in Israel and Palestine? The whole idea that love can flow like a fountain. And
the little tiny commercial is on August 4th, one of my journeys has been to work on a recording project. And so as a benefit, the concert will be a benefit, though, for the tents to rents in Las Cruces, which is one of the ways that we show love here, is providing those shelters and then providing a means for people to move out of those shelters into permanent housing. So, yes, guitar's on. Anyway, August 4th, Black Box Theater. If you want to come, 7 o'clock, Monday night. And tickets are available at the by calling the Black Box. Thank you again for inviting me. Thank you again for the inspiration has been deep from talking to Jim and looking at the Milky Way. Here we go. When the day comes, maybe tomorrow, the day comes, we won't be the same. Love comes, streams from a fountain to the desert again. When the day comes, I know for certain the day comes, we will see again our way through this barren desert to a new and promised land. So sweet as honey to our great delight, the taste of freedom after such a long, long fight. And the change has come, the change is coming on. Yes, it is. And when change comes, love's labor pain comes, as it surely will. Oh, yeah. Again, when the change comes, love's labor pain comes, as it surely will. Be assured, sisters and brothers, the future's alive and well. When pain comes, don't you worry, pain goes, only lasts so long. Hold on, sweet surrender is the sound of love's own song. So sweet as honey to our great delight, the taste of freedom after such a long, long fight. And the change is come, the change is coming on. Change is coming on. I do believe it, change is coming on. Here and now, here and now, change is coming on. Coming on. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris Sanders. Thank you so much. What an angelic voice, yes? Beautiful. So good to hear you. And after 70, you're still singing beautifully like a bird, as they say. Keep it going. It's wonderful. Thank you for your messages through your words. So I'm back in the saddle, as they say. Now is that time that we consider giving back to our community, this beautiful space that allows for diversity in music, expression, and just showing up and being the love in each other's life. And each month we give 10% of all that comes through back out into our community. And this month, 10% is going to the Aggie Cupboard. And I just love that because Meg, who is in our office right now, I met her when she was running the Aggie Cupboard many years ago. So that's how she came to know who we were, because she came here to receive her tithe check and talk to us about the Aggie Cupboard. And that's how she decided when she saw the job opening that she wanted to work here. So I love the Aggie Cupboard for more than one reason. The Aggie Cupboard is a campus food pantry that helps the NMSU students, staff, and faculty facing food insecurity. So everything that we bring in, 10% is going to support them in that process. So please join me in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And then we will sing, I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
I am so blessed, and I feel blessed. I'm grateful to be back. I'm grateful to have had an eventful, uneventful trip. No issues, good weather, all of it fell into place, and I'm grateful to see your smiling faces again. So we just know that all that comes in and through this center supports this place that we can come and be together, rejoice in what it is that God is doing in and through us and around the world. So we see this blessing us and blessing those that we continue to pass it along to. We give great thanks, and so it is. Thank you. What are we singing to close out today?
Go out and shine.
So stand if you would like, and we'll sing Go Out and Shine.
Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Step out and take a chance. Walk the walk, join the dance. Relax, enjoy the ride. Let kindness be your guide. You gotta go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. One voice, one heart, one heart. Wanna change, make a start. We're one big family. What's good for you is good for me. Come on and go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine.
And enjoy the journey, and remember, practitioners are here to pray with you if you would like support in that journey. Have a great week.
Hello.